Alright, welcome to Notes 18. We had just come through Notes 17, where we discussed the law of sines and cosines, and we did a bit of practice measuring very carefully with our protractor and ruler. And so now we're going to get onto this next page, which is how do we extend the diagram. So basically, there are certain problems, like 44 through 46. Well, you are given a diagonal. Now, that diagonal is to be understood as a hypotenuse. So if this is a hypotenuse, then what are the legs of that right triangle? So seeing the right triangle is one of the things we need to do in this course. Now I have it set for myself over here, but what you may want to do is actually draw an x-axis right along here and a y-axis right along here. Here's my pre-drawn x and y-axis. And set them right at the corner, at the end of your hypotenuse. Now, it doesn't matter which end. You can also put them over here at the other end. Well, let's stick with this end. We'll do the other end on the next one. Now, the key here is to determine the legs. Now, we'll use this skill more later on, but for now, the legs are going to align with the x-axis and the y-axis. The x-axis is called the horizontal leg. So we're going to put a horizontal leg here. Put that in red. Oop. Let's get out of that. Here we go. And so if you notice, this diagonal moves horizontally. This hypotenuse moves horizontally, but how far? So from here over to, not this far, it's farther to the right than that. Not this far, that's too far. Right about here. That would be the horizontal leg of that, or the base of that invisible right triangle where the blue line is the hypotenuse. All right, let's draw another one. Let's draw the vertical. Now the vertical starts here and does not go up this high. That's too much. Right around here. Although in truth, it's easier to draw it over on this end. Just go to that end and drop it straight down. You should see that that is the same leg. So I'm going to move this one out of the way for a moment. So now we have made the legs of our right triangle. So this is what we mean by seeing the right triangle. So you could put your little right angle marker there in the corner if you'd like. There we go. So there's your right triangle. Great. Now, on the homework on W112, some of the questions ask you to see the right triangle and actually draw it out carefully. So draw it out carefully and measure how long is this horizontal leg, or this X component as you will come to know it, and how long is this vertical leg, or this Y component as you'll come to know it. Just so you know, you did not have to draw your triangle this way. You could have instead perhaps drawn the vertical first over here, and then drawn the horizontal next to it. Here we go. And this would be the same right triangle as far as we are concerned. Your right angle then would be up in this corner. This will be the same because if you notice, it did not change the lengths. And what we're concerned with is how long is that horizontal leg, how long is that vertical leg. Clearly that length did not change. Okay, let's go over to this one. Now, draw your axes. Now do your best to make this horizontal and vertical. You're doing it freehand, so it may not be perfect. You do it with a ruler. On the homework on W112, it's actually given to you. The axes are already drawn, so it'll be nicer to check out. Okay, let's go up on this side this time. Why not? So, same question. How much horizontal is there for this hypotenuse and how much vertical? Well, the horizontal starts here. It heads over to the left the way we have it drawn, about that far. And then the vertical actually connects the two. The vertical would run from here to here. Okay, there it is. There's your right triangle. Done. You could have, of course, drawn your vertical over on this side and your horizontal down on this side. And notice we did not change the lengths of either, just move them over. And so still, this triangle has the same vertical and horizontal extents, the same what you will come to know as y and x components as the triangle that we just moved it from. One more over here. Maybe we'll move our set of axes down to the bottom again. And please keep in mind, sometimes it's a little tough to sketch these. This is the hypotenuse. This blue line given to you, this diagonal line, is the hypotenuse in this case. So seeing the right triangle and imagining that's the hypotenuse. All right. Let's add our legs to this one. Maybe this time we can do the vertical first. Why not? Here we go. Oh, that was too much. That's too little. Right about there. And now we need to do our horizontal. There it is. And of course, this is the same as if you moved the horizontal down to the bottom and the vertical over to the left. So now you have the legs of the right triangle. Now in the homework, again, on W112, I ask you to measure those legs. So whether the legs are on one side of the hypotenuse or the other, they should be the same length. Okay. Time for example 22. Seeing the parallelogram. Now the parallelogram is a bit tougher to work on. However, if you're careful with your protractor and your ruler, you'll be good to go on this as well. So if you notice here, this is a parallelogram invisibly. A parallelogram has opposite sides that are both congruent and parallel. So we'll put that over here. Now we'll move it up over here. Opposite sides that are both congruent and parallel. Well, why does that matter? Well, congruent is length. Your ruler then will tell you about the length. Parallel, of course, is angle. Your protractor will tell you about the angle. Okay. So, roughly speaking, this parallelogram should go off somewhere around here and here. Something like this. Now you could probably tell visually it's not quite right. And if you look at it and visually it looks a little squished, a little lopsided, it's a problem. So you could see this isn't quite right. We're going to need to do better than that. That's roughly what it should look like, but we can do better. All right, how do we do better? Well, first off, we need to find this angle over here. That is this angle right here. Now, please keep in mind that your paper is different than what my smartboard says. So, you may find your angles and lengths to be somewhat different. However, they should not be, the angles should not be terribly different. In fact, they should be pretty close. The photocopying process and the uploading to Smart Notebook process slightly adjust the images, and they don't adjust them the same way. All right. Based on mine, if I count 10, 20, 30, 40, my angle looks like it's between 40 and 41. I'm working at about 40.5 degrees. Let's see if I can superscript this. There it is. Good. So I'm working at about 40.5 degrees for this angle over here. What that means then is if I extend down to this end and line up that crosshair right at that location, then there we go. We have this side over here. Let's call this side A. Well, this side A over here should be both the same length and same direction. Well, that means it too should be 40.5 degrees above the extension of this side. Let's call this side B. This is like another side B over here. So I'll come all the way over. There's 0. Then go up to 10, 20, 30, 40. 40.5 is like right there. So I should be heading off in this direction. You could see here with the black dashed line I had before, that clearly was not quite right. That was too steep an angle compared to the 40.5. So let's get rid of this guy down here. This is the one we care about. So we need to go in that direction. Now, how far should we go in that direction? One way to do this is, now we know which way side A, or the opposite side A, should go. How long should it be? Please note right here, my ruler is not scaled correctly. So I'm going to hold this ruler up over here. It's going to say a number. It's not going to match your number. Your number is something different. Just go and check it, but the process should be the same. My ruler, which if you notice, I can shrink, I can grow and shrink. It's not actually set to the correct length, but here, I'll set it to 8 centimeters exactly. Well then, based on this ruler, which is wrong, my opposite side A over here should go in the direction of that dot. There's the direction of that dot. If you change the direction, angle it up too far, too little, it's not going to be right. In the direction of that dot, and it should go 8 centimeters. So let me draw this in red. A little easier for me, being that I had the computer which draws straight lines for me, but you should be able to do this as well. So I'm going to go in the direction of that dot out to 8 centimeters, which is right there. A little too long. Let's back them up a little. There we go. Good. That is the correct opposite side A. So move this label here. This one is wrong. Maybe we'll fade them out. That's what we once thought. We'll make it a light gray. So that was our guess. That was wrong. Here's the right one. Now, if you measure correctly, you should be able to just connect from this side A over here, the corner of where side A and B met, over to the new vertex, and it should be correct. So if you do put your ruler there and try it out, run that line straight across. Let's see if I can line this up. Easiest here, I can cheat a little. I can line it up over here. Too long for my ruler. Well, I'm going to cheat. Just make my ruler longer. Sorry, you guys can't do that. You actually have to measure out that length to double check. But I should be roughly in this direction. And my segment, I'll put this in red as well. Okay. We'll connect. Oop, don't mess with this guy. We don't need you anymore. My segment will connect. There it is. Here to here. So there's our new side B. Now I could check the length just to make sure it worked. About 10. Yes, and again, this measurement is probably not going to match your actual picture. I'm just messing around with the ruler. But based on this wrong ruler, they're both the same, so that's okay. This should look to you nice and symmetric. This is actually opposite sides, both congruent and parallel. We are now good to go. I'll give you a little assistance on W112 on the next video.